Hasan's family has made it clear that the army major felt disrespected because of his religion, and they say fellow officers didn't treat him as an equal. A cousin of Hasan's who lives on the West Bank talked about the family's shock over the shooting.
Honestly, at first I was surprised and thought they were mistaken. I did not expect Nidal to do that. In his nature, Nidal is very calm individual. He lives alone. Family members are calling from America, and they say that they're shocked and want to know the reason he did something like this.
The shooting raises troubling questions about anti-Muslim sentiment in the military and how they failed to prevent the shooting. Dr. Zuhdi Jasser is a founder of the American Islamic Forum for Democracy and a former Navy doctor. He joins us from Phoenix, Arizona. Dr. Jasser, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you for having me.
Now, there are reports that Major Hasan is suspected of posting online messages about suicide bombers and violence, was struggling with pending deployment to Afghanistan, had been harassed for being a Muslim, and had long been seeking discharge from the military. How, in your estimation, did he not set off warning bells?
Well, that's the thing, is I think we are continuing to be complacent about the threat. And because of our, my parents came to America, and I served in the Navy because I was able to practice my faith more freely in America than I could anywhere in the world. But that religious freedom is in some ways becoming a liability because there's a political threat against us, which is political Islam, that hides itself within the faith that I love. And we're missing it. And that political threat needs to be looked at. And there are radicalizations that are happening through a cyber jihad where ideas are looked upon by people that are getting radicalized, like Dr. Hasan. And I can't tell you how horrified I was to hear that a doctor just like myself, I was on a Navy scholarship through medical school, and to hear that he was allowed to slip down that slippery slope. It's time for American Muslims and Western Muslims to start to wake up and start to counter the ideas of disenfranchisement, of separatism, and I don't know how he slipped through. I think it's a wake-up call also for the military and many other media, government, etc., to start to look at maybe we can pick up these warning signs earlier.
And Dr. Jasser, you do mention Hasan being a doctor just like yourself. Did you experience any of the kind of discrimination that Hasan's family is alleging he experienced?
I have to tell you, in my 11 years in the Navy, I did not experience one iota of discrimination, of a sense of being ostracized. America, to me, has been the most pluralistic, tolerant country in the world. I was accepted not only as a Muslim, but as an Arab. My parents felt American the moment they came, and within a few minutes of being in the United States, they were able to celebrate freedoms that they never had in Syria ever. And I think that, starting to look at if there was harassment, etc., yes, it's an imperfect world. There are people that are not humane, but that in no way is an explanation for this. The cause of this action is a barbaric, evil action put on top of a political ideology that is inconsistent with Western secular liberal democracies that I think so many Muslims love.
And that must be why several Muslim groups were quick to put out statements condemning this attack in the wake of the shootings. What impact do you see, if any, Dr. Jasser, as potentially resulting from this on Muslims living in the United States?
Well, I think one of the things we have to do, I'm a physician, and we look at treatments, and this is a symptom, and the problem is increasing. We can't just, as Muslim organizations, continue to just condemn things. We need to start to be seen by the West and by Americans as leading the effort to counter this jihad, to do a counter-jihad, create websites and pamphlets that are against political Islamist ideologies and movements such as the Muslim Brotherhood, and counter them in a way that creates alternatives for youth so that they don't get separatists. And I think that's what will make the West view us not as a threat, but actually as the greatest asset from within the Islamic consciousness. Because, I'm a conservative Muslim that believes in my family values, believes in my faith, and I think that's the best antidote against radical barbarians like what happened with Dr. Hasan.
Well, we certainly appreciate your answers today. Dr. Jasser, a former Navy doctor and also founder of the American Islamic Forum for Democracy. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.